I think we should address the elephant in the room. There's hardly any conversation happening across the borders anymore, right?
I mean, there should be, but no, there isn't, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I used to be very happy that if there's no political talks happening, at least artists were meeting with a whole lot of things like Coke Studio and stuff. They were doing some amazing work.
Right.
But I think a whole lot of those things, they pulled the plug on it as well. Music is always my first love. Music inspires the need to create movies or whether it's plays or whatever it is. So when I'm listening to a particular song or a particular piece of music, I get an image or someone standing somewhere by the lake, by something, or someone over a body. And then I just work backwards. Why is he there? Why is she there? What is this? What is the story? And then almost like ripples from a pebble.
Right.
But it's always music that gives me the first push. And then from there, I develop the story.
Hi guys, welcome back to Happa After 5. I'm Omer, founder of Happa Studios. Today's guest is from across the border, a very dear friend of mine, someone who doesn't belong to just one form of storytelling. From theater to stand-up, from radio to cinema, and now stepping into direction. He's spent years moving across mediums, constantly evolving how stories are told. You may know him from films like English Vinglish, where he shared the screen with Sridevi, or from his work across Malayalam cinema, alongside names like Mohanlal and Fahad Fasil. But beyond that, he's someone who's built a life around performance expression and constantly reinventing his craft. So today we're talking about evolution, identity, and what it really means to be an artist across forms. Welcome, Ashvin. So good to see you.
Greetings and salutations.
So I think we should address the elephant in the room. There's hardly any conversation happening across the borders anymore, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there should be, but no, there isn't, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I used to be very happy that if there's no political talks happening, at least artists were meeting with a whole lot of things like Coke Studio and stuff. They were doing some amazing work.
Right.
But I think a whole lot of those things, they pulled the plug on it as well. So
right. And I guess only a small fraction of people really feel what is missing out. I mean, the more artists share across platforms, across boundaries, I think it just makes the world much better and brighter and bigger.
I don't mean this to sound as a cliche, but that's one of the biggest things that art does, right? It erodes or erases boundaries, and so yeah.
So, looking at your journey from outside, what role do you think people associate you with the most today?
As a total nut job, mainly.
I mean, that's always been given, right?
Some things don't change.
By the way, I mean, people don't know, but Ashvin has also introduced me to a shitload of amazing music, which I probably wouldn't come across. Leonard Cohen, for one. I'll always remember those really nice sessions at your apartment in Cyprus. Leonard Cohen, Nick Cave. I'll be forever grateful for you for these two.
Good times.
Yes. So tell me what you're up to these days. What exactly are you? Tell me something exciting what you're doing.
I'm working on my second film as writer and director. It's called Fegasi Brothers Private Limited, an out-and-out action comedy. As strange as it is, even though I did a lot of comedy and stand-up comedy and stuff, whenever I used to write film scripts, I think even when I used to tell you some of the stories I had in Cyprus, most of them are depressed. As in, like, when I tell my friends or my relatives, I got a new story, and they go, everybody dies, right? I mean, like, yeah. Everybody. So it was pretty interesting that I finally sat down and wrote something that was just funny from the beginning to the end, and it's an action comedy. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm in the process of talking to actors for their dates.
I would love to know about the process, and I think everyone who are aspiring filmmakers would also love to know about what the process is to when you're writing and directing a film. Like, how do you start, and how do you go about it?
I think it's different for everybody, Omer, but for me, it always is music. See, everyone who knows me knows that movies are a reference point for everything in life, right? But having said that, music is always my first love. Music inspires um, the need to create movies or whether it's plays or whatever it is. So when I'm listening to a particular song or a particular piece of music, I get an image or someone standing somewhere by the lake, by something, or someone over a body, and then I just work backwards. Why is he there? Why is she there? What is this? What is the story? And then almost like ripples from a pebble. But
Right.
it's always music that gives me the first push, and then from there I develop the story.
And the initial reference which you have, does it also stick with you throughout the movie?
What do you
The music reference which you have, the music you've heard, do you stick with that throughout the movie? I mean, do you keep taking
that would
inspiration from
probably
it?
be that would probably be for that one scene that inspired the rest of the film. But the
Right.
rest of the film, I again, like I said, it's always music. So the story, when I'm writing it, would usually have a rhythm, depending on what kind of story it is. And
Right.
I keep listening. The minute I know it's going in a particular place, I'll think of, okay, what music comes here? And I listen to that genre of music, whether it's funk or something like that. So then
Nice.
automatically there's a beat to the story and a beat to the thing. So if, like, for example, if there's a background score and the background score stops and the actors still walk with that beat, the
Right.
audience can still
Right.
get the rhythm of that scene, even though the music is not there. That's something I always try to infuse in whatever I'm doing. The rhythm, there's a constant beat or a rhythm.
That is fantastic. And how do you go about getting the right actors for certain roles? I mean, India obviously is much more advanced than Pakistan in cinema. But you have casting industries, they help you. How do you go about that?
The casting industries are much bigger and more relevant in the Bombay film industry.
Right.
I work mainly in the Malayalam film industry, and there
Right.
there are casting directors. There are casting directors, but here it's more like you talk to the associate directors and you tell them, "Can you think of who do you think of for this?" Unless I have an idea of I'd like this person. Like there are a lot of times when I would like to always cast theater actors in supporting roles whenever I can. One, because I know them, because I've worked with them. But otherwise, even in the Malayalam industry, one of the good things about the industry is they don't always go for established people. They keep
Right.
finding people off the streets who end up blowing your mind, you know?
Amazing. That is amazing. Is there like I'm not much aware of it, but is there like a conflict between the Malayalam industry and Bollywood? It's generally people don't get along.
No, no. In fact, the Malayalam industry is extremely well respected because some of the best work comes out of the Malayalam industry in terms of story and script.
Right.
World class cinema comes from there. And we mind our own business. We can't be bothered about competition. So we're just out there to just put out good stuff. And a lot of Malayalam films are remade in the other industries, especially the Bombay film industry. So no, I don't think there's any conflict. I don't think there's a conflict per se in between any of the industries, at least not from what I've heard. There may be conflicts or jealousies between performers, but again,
I mean, that's fine. That's all right.
see, for example, Bombay film industry is so big. I would be amused if they have a problem with somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you'd be like, yeah, I mean, Goliath has a problem with me.
Right. So you got the script, you got the actors. What's the next step?
Because we're a much smaller industry, and this is my second film. It's not that easy for me to find producers or investors. So
Right.
that's why, rather than write a script, find a producer, I would need to write a script, talk to the actors, the big actors, or whoever I can get. So straight away, I go, okay, this person's attached, this person's attached. Then I go to producers saying, I have a film. These guys and these people have already attached themselves to it, and they've given me dates. And then it'll be easier to get money. They'll be like, oh, okay. They'll call, they'll check with those actors, or find out through people, and they'll be like, yeah, those actors have said yes. They'll be like, here, take my money.
Right.
Because those actors would have a market value.
Got it. And how much do the investors who get on board, how much say do they have, or how much do they interfere in your overall vision?
As a writer-director, I hope that they don't interfere at all. But I'm open to suggestions, especially, again, because I'm part of the industry, but I don't live in Kerala. I live in another state. So sometimes some producers would be like, hey, have you got someone for that particular role of that minister? I'm like, no, I'm still looking. They'd be like, why don't you look at these people? I'll be okay. Unless they tell me, no, I want you to cast this person. And I'll always check to see why. But if they're just putting their foot down saying, I want my niece or my nephew to play this, we'll have a problem.
And do they do the people who are usually casted, is it also like your first preference, or is there like a conversation about that?
There's always conversation, and I have plan A, plan B, plan C, because it's not possible that you always get who you want, But so you look at options as well, but you always hope, excuse me, that you get your first options. But with my first film, what happened was I never got my first choices of whoever I spoke to. And what ended up happening is what I thought was a compromise ended up working much better than what I originally thought of. So that happens a lot as well. You have an original idea, but then somebody else... See, because a lot of the time, artists, actors, they want to prove themselves. Unless you're working with someone who thinks they are big shit. Then again, that's a problem. So you cast someone who's hungry. You cast someone who's hungry to prove themselves. You have a win there. It's a win situation. So you just act. If you're lucky, they say as a good director, 70% of your work is done in casting. Right. Absolutely. And it's also the team that you have, the director's team, the production team. If you have a group of awesome people, it's smooth sailing. It's magic. Omer, it's magic. Absolutely. And I'm so blessed, Omer. First of all, to have friends, amazing friends who will constantly encourage you. And then I've got this inner set of people that I work with, my associates and stuff. Supremely talented people, and not just people who do one thing. Like my editor is also a musician. He also sings. He is also a very good actor. So he understands when I say there's a rhythm to what I shot. And because he's a musician, he understands the beat, the importance of the beat. So an interesting thing that I didn't realize till much later is my first film was called Sridevi. Right. And every single scene that he edited, it's multiples of 3. I can't see him anymore. Sorry. And just as I come back, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Oh, I'm back. Yeah. Cheers, sir. To the future. So, the undiscovered country. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, and that's a very interesting aspect which you've brought up. That also means that you've also spent a lot of time gathering these people around you and choosing and picking the right kind of people around you, right? I mean, it takes years to have the right people around you who can help you in the vision and even encourage you and listen to you and, aapki bakwas sun sakte hain. So absolutely. Believers. Believers. Yeah. And at the same time, they have their own vision where, like you said, they listen to my bullshit and they call out my bullshit if they think it's bullshit. So that's also very important. The last thing you need is yes men or yes people. You don't need that. You don't need that. We know a lot of those. They value for nothing.
So just moving on, I want to just quickly go over the process because I know in my part of the country, a lot of people will be interested in that. So you've got the cast, you got an investor, you got the script ready, and then you start shooting. How long does it usually take to shoot, and how do you go and scout for locations? And how do you go about that?
Once your script is ready and your investors on board, what you do is what we do is with the production controller or the producer and the DOP, the director of photography, based on the script, you go location hunting or the recce.
Right.
You make
You must
keep
love
options.
that part, right?
Yes and no, because sometimes it can be a tedious process. So sometimes I'd let the DOP do it because
Right.
that's his vision. And then they keep sending me images, videos, pictures. Sometimes I go as well because if it's one particular scene that I had a very good, strong idea about, then I would go. But otherwise, let them do the work and do the thing because it's their
Right.
vision. So I let
Right.
them do it. And I would sometimes say, for this particular scene, could you please make sure you find something like this? It's
Right.
also a way of letting them or allowing them. But that sounds like a place of extreme power. But just getting them to do this stuff by themselves,
Right.
without me holding their hand per se. So I know what they're capable of as well in terms of vision.
Right.
When they come back
But-
saying, these are the places.
But when you go to the actual shoot and you go to a place where you've never been before, like, does it also take you time to absorb the entire place and kind of shoot accordingly?
I make sure that if I've not been for the recce, I look at all the pictures, all the videos, and based on that, we do storyboarding. I'm very insistent on storyboarding, or at least I sit with the DOP. I'd like to use 2 or 3 cameras as much as possible. Like 90% of my first film, we shot with 2 cameras for every scene. Every scene.
Right.
2
Right.
and sometimes over 3, including a drone. So when you plan each shot, each scene, and you reach there completely prepared, then no, you don't take too much time. You don't waste time. I'm very thing about wasting other people's money. So
Right. And also, I mean, with AI, I think the storyboarding aspect, a lot of these things could also assist you and quicken the process, right?
yes, so that's what we're going to be doing this time. My
Come on.
editor, who's also my close
Right.
friend, his brother is creates AI and AI software. He's very much into that space. So
Right.
what we're doing is we're trying to create our own AI materials or things that help us
come on.
pre-production, and post-production.
Right. I mean, would there be a scenario where you can do like entire movie before you actually go and shoot it?
Pre-wiz, entire film, no, but quite a few of the scenes you can actually
Right.
use like an idea of pre-wiz, not exactly pre-wiz, but using AI and you can have an idea of if I shoot it like this, what would it look like? And you feed the images and
Right.
stuff to just get an idea. Which some directors like Jodie Foster, I think, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
for some film, she actually took a handycam and just kind of with her assistants and whatever, kind of shot the entire film with a handycam so that she kind of knows what it
Right.
looks like. So yeah, but
Right.
now with
Right.
AI, you can do that.
And so once the video, the movie's shot, then we obviously go into marketing and distribution and things like that, which is, I guess, always
It's a headache. It's a headache.
it's always a pain. Since I'm in that field, that's where you guys usually come to me, right?
Exactly.
And it's a pain.
See, the
but,
marketing part,
obviously,
no.
yeah.
I don't think the marketing part is a pain. That's, again, very exciting because I like design work and I'd like to see what people like. See, then
Right.
it's about my idea and you interpreting my idea to sell.
Right.
So you have an interesting part, and I'd like to be part of it. I'd like to always see what's going on because again, I like the whole idea of design and stuff. But the pain is the distribution part, or
Right.
the
Right.
sale of the film. Like, see, for example, my first film, we haven't sold it yet to any OTT. because they're not interested in a feminist thriller, and it's
Right.
made in the Kannada language, where they're just not interested. Otherwise, you have to
Right.
sell it for a very small sum, and so those are the problems.
So what happens to the investors if the movie is not distributed? They just take
It's
a
a big
hit.
loss. It's they
You
take
just
a
call
very
them
bad
for
hit.
dinner. You just introduce them to some new fucking
No,
music.
the idea is, may I please you this way? But no, they are never say die. I mean,
Right.
now I learned my lesson. It's not that I'm not going to make feminist thrillers.
Right.
I will always keep the idea of feminism in the script, in whatever script that I write, to make sure that women are portrayed the right way.
Right.
And I also know which languages that I want to work in, which are easier to sell,
Right.
and things like that. And also
So which
story-wise.
so which are the languages which are easier to sell in?
See, again, it's a tough one, but Malayalam films, if you use particular actors, they always have OTTs that will pick it up.
Right.
And theatrically, my God, you can't predict anything anymore. Anything.
Right.
I remember
Right.
there was a film called Marco that came out. Extremely violent, very stylized. Not my kind of film, but I can see why it would do well. It was the
Right.
first time in Malayalam cinema they saw that kind of violence, stylized violence. It became a super hit. At the same time, there was another film called Kishkinda Kandam, very
Okay.
quiet mystery thriller that with a ending that just slaps you like no one's business. First
Right.
time scriptwriter, cinematographer wrote his first script, and he shot it as well. And that movie made for, I think, 7 crores or something, ended up making 100 crores. At the same time,
Wow.
that
Wow.
Marco was a hit. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
So you're thinking,
Amazing.
what's with the audience? They're going and making this movie a hit, and then they're making this movie a hit as well. So
Yeah.
you can't predict anything anymore. You
Right.
just have to get out there and do what you think will work.
I mean, in terms of how much money a particular movie is made, does it also depend on the time it's released? If it's a weekend, if it's a weekday, do all those factors obviously kind
I
of
think it does.
count in?
I think it does.
Yeah.
If you're making a smaller film, like an independent film, like I would be making,
Right.
the smart thing to do is not release when there's 3 other big releases of big stars.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like-
there's
like-
always something big coming out in India, right?
Not always, though. Not always.
Right. Okay.
Like so we can, and sometimes this has happened before, where, like for example, the movie I mentioned, Kishkinda Kanda, there were 2 big Hindi films that were released at the same time, and a big Malayalam film that was released at the same time. And this
Right.
one had some small theaters and timings like 10 a.m. on a Monday and Tuesday. So
Right.
it was a very, like you go, what the hell? When am I going to watch this? And then by the time this was released on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they saw even the 10 o'clock shows being packed. And then the next Monday, they changed the bigger films. They gave them the smallest slots, and they gave the
Nice.
small films all the thing. That's very rare, but that does happen. I mean,
So-
if Salman Khan has an Eid release, you keep quiet and wait for another 2 months.
Right. Does the Malayalam cinema has an audience outside India as well?
Definitely, especially in the Gulf countries.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they like they're pretty big there. I'm not much
Omer,
aware.
I think the biggest ports of business from, let's say, 300, 500, 700 years ago was always the port of Cochin. And then maybe
Right.
up north, maybe near Gujarat, I think. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But Kerala has had ties with Yemen and the Gulf countries for ages,
Right. Very
including
interesting.
Africa and stuff. They have found Egyptian coins from Cleopatra's time, gold coins in Kerala, which means there was business with the Romans and the Egyptians. So Malayalis have always been welcome to the Gulf, and automatically there's always a joke. The first language of Dubai is Malayalam, and then it's Arabic and then Hindi, because there's so many Malayalis there.
Right.
And now the other parts of India are also starting to watch a lot of Malayalam films because they're just damn good, man. They're just really good.
Come on. So generally going back, your early grounding was a lot in theater, right? What did that phase give you that you still rely on?
Oh, wow. See, the thing is, like they say, film is a director's medium and theater is an actor's medium. Once the rehearsals are done, it's just up to the actors on stage to carry the play. Confidence, I guess, is one thing that I got loads of from the theater, in terms of performance, in terms of diction, in terms of ways of approaching a script, whether it's writing, directing, or acting. The way you study a script in theater is very intense. And I think that, like you got to be really sharp. And that's something that I bring to film as well. But yeah, I think mainly it would be the idea of the confidence to be on stage or to face the camera, or any actor for that matter, without feeling insecure and all that stuff. That's what I learned, at least from the theater.
Do you also have a good side on the screen? On like you have a good angle?
I think all my angles are shitty.
Come on.
Dude, you can't lie to yourself. If you look in the mirror every day and you know exactly how you look, like, see, for example,
I've seen you almost after 20 years, and I think you look exactly the same. I mean, that's fucking amazing.
For the grays.
For a little grays. I mean, they look good on you.